Hello and welcome to Segments with Mark and Amber. Segments is a comedy podcast where in each episode, Amber and I choose a topic and talk about it in a variety of segments. My name, as always, is Mark, and with me, as always, is the Jane to my Tarzan, Amber.
That was a lot of alwayses.
It is a lot of always, just like we were always swinging on them vines through the jungle.
As always, this is episode 45. That doesn't work.
You tried again.
This is episode 45, and we are talking about jungles in pop culture.
That's right. And the format of the show is very, very exciting. As always, we're going to be talking about what's making us happy. And then we're bringing back a listener favorite, Hanks But No Thanks. We'll be doing a really great jungle quiz.
Ooh.
And, of course, as always, our top 5 jungles.
As always, if you want to contact us or leave feedback, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at SegmentsCast. And you can email us, segmentscast@gmail.com.
And as always, we like to start out with some corrections and apologies. And as always, I would like to bring up your brother, Aaron. Has he sent us anything recently?
No, he is not.
Okay. I'm guessing he's busy and he's not listening.
Yeah, I guess that too.
That's all right. But Aaron, when you catch up, we welcome you back.
I think they're on a road trip with their kids who have not heard all the Harry Potter books, so they can't listen to the podcast without spoiling their kids. So they're making a good parenting decision.
But couldn't they listen to the off ones? The, Chips.
Yeah, I do think we got
Jungles.
feedback from them about Chips.
Okay, well,
Okay.
good. But did we get feedback from anybody else?
No. Oh, well, yes.
Mm.
Friend of the show, Amy. I was going to say listener, but she's a friend.
She's a friend and a listener.
She responded. We had a question about her, the mood of a previous post that was asking, are we going to be doing all the Harry Potter books in a row or not? So she clarified. She finally got a chance to listen to the Chips episode a few days ago to answer your question. I am glad that you will not be doing all of the books without throwing some other things in there. I'm not a fan of them. I am a huge fan of chips, and in my opinion, a chip is only a chip if it's made out of a potato. Interesting. So you would not call a Dorito a chip.
That is very interesting. So that's a very kind of a classic, I think, or kind of maybe a foundational understanding of chips because they are, classically potato chips.
I think they were the first, yeah.
And then, but I think that chips have expanded greatly, and now you have even chips made out of kale.
Yeah,
chips.
you do. Absolutely. We was glad that in the midst of the Harry Potter books, we did do something that she was a fan of.
Yeah, that's right. So we apologize that there's so many Harry Potter books.
But keep listening, Amy. Hopefully you're also a
listening.
huge fan of jungles.
That's right. So, Amber, let's move right into what's making you happy right now.
Well, what's making me happy right now at the end of July is Michigan blueberries.
Ah, yes.
So I enjoy a blueberry.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, I remember picking them as a kid or buying them from a fruit stand and my mom washing them and then freezing them in big bags that we'd keep in the freezer all year and be able to thaw them out for cereal and pancakes.
If I remember correctly, my mom never would let us eat blueberries. I can't remember.
She was a tough one. But,
so was the blueberry strawberry shortcake friend your favorite one?
She did smell real good. Blueberry buckle, blueberry pie, huckleberry pie.
Blueberry Betty, I think is her name.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I tried some blueberries a few months ago, and they were horrible. They tasted like sawdust. They had almost no flavor. Something was seriously wrong with them. So I was really excited when it became blueberry season here in Michigan. I got a big container. I've been putting them in my yogurt. It's like a special, delicious treat.
Did I see on the Facebooks that your brother was out picking blueberries in a field last week?
Which brother?
Your brother, Adam.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You didn't see
He's
that?
the Michigan one.
Yeah, he's the Michigan one. I think he was out in a field picking
Wow,
blueberries.
good for him.
A lot of people are doing that.
Yeah.
In the heat. While we were down in the heat of Mexico,
That was
they were
prime blueberry week.
picking blueberries. So
Yep. We even talked to some friends that we know in Mexico, and one of the ways we were trying to entice them to come to Michigan was blueberries.
blueberries. I think
They
it'll
don't
work.
have a lot of fresh blueberries down there, I don't think.
No, I've never seen one.
So
They did have some strawberries in the market, but they told me not to buy them because they were watered with sewage water.
They looked really bright.
So
They were tempting.
Sewage bright. So.
What is making you happy right now,
Well,
Mark?
Amber, last week or the week before that, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, the 15th and the 16th of July were Prime days, and that's a thing where Amazon puts a lot of things on sale.
I wonder why they picked those days. Just kind of halfway between.
I don't know.
Halfway in the year
right
from
in the
Christmas.
middle, yeah, trying to make some money mid-year maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just kind of browsing as I do. And that's really, when you're trying to stay on a budget, don't browse, Amazon.
Yeah, you might find some stuff you didn't know you needed.
Exactly. And so I'm browsing, and all of a sudden I see an Alexa, the tall one that we have.
Oh, it's so nice.
And
yeah.
it plays the music, it has a nice speaker. And here's another one for half off.
Oh,
and I've
man.
always wanted another one,
Yeah.
because we got one in the living room, and I often want one maybe in my office or in the kitchen or some
Yeah.
other place.
Yeah.
I like this idea of like when you walk from room to room, you can still hear the music.
Totally.
And so I got this new Alexa device. It was waiting for us when we got home from Mexico, and I opened it up, and I had a little bit of problem connecting it, but it was actually my fault. I made the mistake. And so when I understood what was happening, it was pretty simple. Got it all hooked up, and now I can have her tell me jokes, tell me the weather, play music, all sorts of stuff, from two different rooms, one in the kitchen, one in the living room, and it fills the whole first floor with lovely, lovely music.
It's pretty sweet. So how many more do you think you'd have to have in order for it to be perfect?
Oh, man.
Probably need one in
I
the
need
bedroom.
one. Yeah, if I had one upstairs, that would be real good.
Yeah.
I think perfect is that's. I think satisfactory would be one more.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect, maybe if I had 4, it'd be really
Yeah,
nice.
uh-huh.
Maybe 5.
I think you'd be able to hear it well on both
everywhere.
levels.
Yeah. So Graham and Jill have that real nice Sonos system.
Yeah.
That sounds real good. That's kind of like Alexa, but you don't have the government listening in on you. But I like the government to know what I'm up to.
It's good. It's a comforting feeling.
Exactly.
They'll keep us in check.
Exactly. So that's what's making me happy. My linked Alexas.
Nice.
All right, Amber, before we get into jungles,
Yeah.
okay, before we dive into the jungle, before we swing into the jungle,
There you
it
go.
is. I wanted to bring something up for our periodically recurring segment, Hanks But No Thanks.
Oh, you just said it right away.
I did it.
First
I've
time.
been really practicing for weeks. So I just had you watch the trailer with me for, what's it called?
Mr. Rogers?
Mr. Rogers.
There's
There's Welcome to the Neighborhood. It's a
Something
beautiful
like
day
that.
in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Is what it's called. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Tom Hanks is playing the titular role of Mr. Rogers. I don't remember his first. Fred Rogers. And I'm pretty excited about it.
It looks pretty good. I watched a lot of Mr. Rogers growing up. How about you?
I watched some. So as a child, I remember watching it, and part of me was like, oh, this kind of makes me happy, but part of me was like, why is this show so boring?
It is. They had a very slow pace.
And but I think that was purposeful.
Yeah.
And now looking back at it and thinking about just who Mr. Rogers was and what he was trying to accomplish, I just think it's beautiful. He's a Presbyterian pastor. He's passionate about little kids. He's passionate about justice and rights and the value of all people. And it's just amazing. And so watching that trailer, you said, oh, it makes a lot of people cry, supposedly. And I didn't cry, but I did feel a little bit emotional, especially
Yeah.
when the kids were singing to him on the bus.
That was pretty sweet.
And you're just like, man, this guy's making a
Something
difference.
special about him.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember having it on the TV and kind of wandering away during the maybe educational part of it, but then hearing that music of going to make-believe
land.
and then running back in. You
Running
don't want to
back
miss
in.
that.
Even though those puppets were pretty hideous.
I mean, the queen and the king and stuff, they were scary.
They're very
There's
scary.
a lady that was
Yeah.
not the king or the queen, that was maybe kind of mean or something.
Yeah.
Judy,
remember.
no.
Lady. Yeah.
Oh, there's lady something,
Lady
yeah.
something. Lady and the Tramp, I think.
Who could know?
And then they had the little cat.
Meow,
the cat
meow,
was kind
meow,
of meow meow. It was kind of cute. So, yeah. And there was another show that I watched at that same time was Captain Kangaroo. Did you watch Captain
did,
Kangaroo?
yeah.
Was that more local?
Oh, it might have been.
Because I don't hear people talking about how great Captain Kangaroo is.
Interesting. Was it local?
I don't see Tom Hanks making any movies about Captain.
No.
And he'd have all those ping pong balls follow him all the time, and
yeah.
the big moose guy.
That was more like a clowny around fun show.
Yeah, but he was still lovely.
Sure. So I'm excited about this one. I do feel like it couldn't be more perfect casting because Mr. Rogers is kind of slow and boring and just like peaceful and just vanilla, and that is Tom Hanks. So I think it'll be great to see him in this role.
It's going to be great. I might have to go see this one by myself.
No, I want to see it.
Okay. So listeners, let us know what you think about Tom Hanks playing Mr. Rogers. Are you excited or are you bored? Segment 1, a jungle quiz.
Oh, I'm excited. I feel like it's been a while since we've had a quiz.
It has been a while, and I've created it. I've written it all in my Passion Planner.
Oh, very
so
nice.
This is the first time I've done a quiz not on the computer, but
Just extra passionate.
I was just thinking through, and anyway, for some reason I use this as my medium. And when I said a jungle quiz, it reminded me that you know that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson currently is filming a brand new movie.
I did know that.
Called The Jungle Cruise.
I did know that, yeah.
You did know that. It's a remake.
Right.
I'm very excited about it.
It's a remake?
It's a remake of the original Jungle Cruise.
Which is what the ride is based off of.
Which is what the ride is based off of.
I didn't
That's
know,
my
I didn't
understanding.
know there was an original.
That's what I think.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I'm sure Aaron will be calling up in another month and a half when he catches up. So maybe not. Maybe it's based on the ride. And I just thought I just have this picture in my mind. Oh, maybe that's a different movie. Something about the Nile. Anyway, I'll look into that later.
I don't think there was anything for Pirates of the Caribbean before that became a movie. That was just a ride.
Yeah, it's just a ride. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're
We'll
right.
see.
Well, that's not one of the questions. I just
right.
made me think how excited Dwayne is doing a bunch right now.
He really is. I hope he doesn't burn himself out.
I don't know. Have you ever seen, what's his show on HBO, Ballers?
No.
Me neither.
I think it's about basketball.
Football? I don't know.
Sports ball?
Sports ball. So that's another good one. So hopefully someday we'll be able to talk about some things that we know about. Okay, Amber, here's the jungle quiz. I've got 9 questions for you.
Okay.
And you need to get a majority of them right in order to win.
All right, that'd be 5.
That would be 5. And they are varying difficulties.
Okay.
So don't get too excited or don't get too scared, depending on where we end up.
You're really helping me manage my emotions.
That's good. Question number 1. There's a trope, a classic trope
I love tropes.
in jungle movies of kind of the adventurer archaeologist. And
Yes.
Indiana Jones is for sure the most famous one.
Sure.
Right? What is the name of Nicolas Cage's character in National Treasure who also fits this adventurer archaeologist trope?
Oh, man.
Is it Benjamin Gates? Is it Robert Langdon? Or Dirk Pitt?
Oh, man. I don't think it's Dirk Pitt. Benjamin Gates or Robert Langdon?
Mm-hmm.
Benjamin. Oh, boy. I'm going to go Benjamin.
Amber, you are correct.
Yay.
Robert Langdon is Tom Hanks' character in The Da Vinci Code.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, so that's 1 for 1. Good job. In the movie Avatar, so the connection there was there's the jungle trope. That's why that was in the jungle quiz.
I like it.
Anyway.
Yeah, we can be broad with our connections.
In the movie Avatar, the jungle moon that they travel to is called what?
Oh, man.
Ares, Pandora, Dionysus.
Well, something's called Pandora, so I'm going to go with that. Pandora.
Amber, good job.
I've
It
only
is
seen that once,
Pandora.
and it's like the highest grossing movie of all time.
I know. Well, they're making like 200
Didn't
more. So
Endgame
good
finally
news.
surpass it? I think
think it did. Yeah,
I think
it did.
Endgame won. That feels more better.
It feels more better. All right, and the connection there was a jungle moon.
Okay.
Number 3. In Rambo First Blood Part 2, Rambo is dropped into the jungle of Vietnam, but this causes him to lose all of his guns and most of his equipment except for his knives and a bow with specialized arrows.
Oh, man.
So one of these situations caused him to lose most
okay.
of his equipment
Not
except
just
for
falling into the jungle.
one
Okay.
of these specific. A. His parachute becomes entangled and breaks. B. He inadvertently lands in a rushing river. C. He lands in the midst of a group of Vietnamese soldiers. One of these causes him to lose all of his equipment except for a really big knife and some specialized bows and arrows.
Okay, so I don't remember if I've seen this movie. I think I've seen Rambo. I would say if the parachute broke, it's possible that somehow the guns got stuck really high up in a tree and he couldn't get to him, but that doesn't seem as likely. I feel like the Russian River seems real likely. Of course, he encountered hordes of Vietnamese soldiers, I'm assuming, at various points. But why would they let him get away with his knives and his bow? I'm going to go river.
Amber, that was a really good question, but it's actually his parachute became entangled and broke.
Why does that affect him losing all his guns?
Well, you better watch that movie again.
Okay. And they must be stuck in a very tall tree.
Stuck in a big old tree. So maybe, I don't know. Number 4. Amber, you didn't get that one correct.
I did not.
Number 4. We know all the recent Survivor episodes and seasons are being filmed in Fiji.
Yeah.
Which jungle has not been featured in Survivor?
Ooh.
A. Cambodia. B. Nicaragua. C. Philippines. D. Mexico.
Ooh, this has got a 4-parter.
It's 4.
Cambodia, I'm pretty sure, is one for sure. So I'm going to rule that one out.
Okay.
So there's Philippines, Mexico, and Nicaragua. Philippines seems like it's probably one. I'm just trying to picture like Survivor Philippines. Yeah, that sounds right. Survivor Nicaragua doesn't sound right, but they could have called it something different. It could have been like Survivor Skull Ghost or something.
Skull Ghost. Yeah, that was one of the more famous ones.
Mexico also does not seem like a place that has had Survivor. Nicaragua. I'm going to go Mexico is the not one.
Amber, you are correct.
Shoosh.
La Isla El Reality is a Mexican version of Survivor, which has been filmed in the jungles of Mexico.
That is amazing.
So you are correct again.
So American Survivor was in Nicaragua.
Yes, it was called. The season was called San Juan del Sur.
Okay.
San Juan del Sur.
The Ghost Skull.
Ghost Skull. In Journey 2, all right, Amber, this question, I tried to write it a couple of times, but it'll just stick with me for a second.
Okay.
In Jungle 2, The Mysterious Island, starring Dwayne Johnson, Dwayne, playing Hank, and his stepson discover a mysterious island that was written about in 3 classic books. Which book does not talk about the mysterious island? Okay, so they use the maps from 3 classic books to find the location of the mysterious island.
Okay.
Okay? In one of these, 3 of these books were used, and 1 was not.
Oh, okay. Which book was not used in the movie?
Correct.
Okay.
Treasure Island, Gulliver's Travels, Mysterious Island, Robinson Crusoe. One of those was not part of the map collaboration that led them to the Mysterious Island.
Treasure Island, Robinson Crusoe, Gulliver's Travels. What was the other one?
The third one was called Mysterious Island.
Mysterious Island. That feels like that's got to be in there. Gulliver's Travels seems like the most silly of those.
Because of the Lilliputians?
Yeah.
Lilliputians?
Yes. And then you've got, would they have used Robinson Crusoe and Swiss Family Robinson? Is that what you said?
No. Treasure Island.
Treasure Island.
Gulliver's Travels. Okay. Mysterious Island.
So I think
Robinson Crusoe.
Treasure Island. Mysterious Island for sure. I'm going to say Robinson Crusoe also, which leaves
Gulliver's Travels?
Gulliver's Travels, I'm saying is not used.
Incorrect, Amber. Robinson Crusoe is not used.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So in that movie, he's trying to build relationship with his stepson, and they find this kind of these clues, and they pull these books together, and they find the Mysterious Island.
Okay.
And it's very cool. And it's Dwayne Johnson. Do you know who the star was in Journey, the first Journey to the Center of the Earth? Not the original, but the one. It wasn't The Rock. It was another great.
Brendan Fraser?
Yeah. Brendan Fraser is so good. We should do an episode about Brendan Fraser.
I think we could.
He's really great. Okay, Amber, so you've got 3 correct, and you've missed 2.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So here we go. Number 6. In Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, as Indy is escaping from the natives in the opening of the movie, there's a snake on the plane. Indy famously says, "There's a big snake on the plane, blank. I hate snakes, blank. I hate 'em." What was the pilot's name?
Oh, my.
Was his name Reggie, Jock, or Rocky?
There's a snake on the plane. Reggie, there's a snake on the plane. Jacques? Jock.
Jock.
There's a snake on the plane. What was the last one?
Rocky.
Rocky.
Reggie,
man.
Jock, Rocky.
Wow. 2 of those you made up? I'm going to go Jock.
You are correct, Amber.
One of them.
Reggie was the name of the snake.
Oh, really?
It was Jock's pet
Oh,
snake.
my gosh.
Yeah. In Rocky, I mixed Reggie and Jock together.
That was pretty smart.
So you're doing good.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you just need one more
One
to
more
win.
to win.
Played by Naomi Watts in the 2005 remake of King Kong, this unemployed actress becomes King Kong's love interest. This is the not Naomi,
Character
the
name.
character name.
Okay.
Elizabeth Bennet, Dorothy Gale, Ann Darrow, Mary Lennox.
Oh, my gosh. I thought one of them would sound familiar. Say those words again.
Elizabeth Bennet, Dorothy Gale, Ann Darrow, Mary Lennox.
Man, so the first 2 are other literary characters. Anne Lennox and who else?
Mary Lennox and Ann Darrow.
I'm going to say Anne Darrow.
Amber, you are correct.
Oh, sheesh.
Elizabeth Bennet is from Pride and Prejudice.
Yes.
Dorothy Gale.
Gale's Wizard of Oz.
And Mary Lennox is the protagonist from The Secret Garden.
Oh, really? I've certainly read that.
Yeah. So you've already won, but we're just going to do the final 2 questions because
Yay.
it's fun.
Yes, it is.
Everybody knows Mowgli and Baloo from the Jungle Book, but what was the name of Mowgli's mentor, the Black Panther?
Ooh.
A. Bagheera. B. Shere Khan.
Oh.
C. Kaa. D. Raksh.
Oh, shoot. Those are all names from the Jungle
They
Book.
are, but one of them's a Black Panther.
Shere Khan, I think, is the tiger.
Okay.
Ka or something like that, I think, is the snake.
Okay.
So it's either the first one or the last one. Bagari and what else?
Bagheera and Raksh.
I'm going to go with Bagheera.
Bagheera you are correct.
Shoosh.
Raksh was Mowgli's adoptive mother, the
Really?
wolf. Yeah.
Oh, the wolf.
The
Jeez.
wolf. Yeah. All right. Well, you got that one too.
Yay.
So, are you going to get 7 out of 9? Let's
Jungle
see.
Princess.
Jungle Princess. One of the most famous jungle planets in Star Wars, Kashyyyk, is the home of what species?
I don't even need a multiple choice, but our listeners might.
Ewoks, Trandoshans, or Wookiees?
It is Wookiees.
Yes, that was too easy.
Big, tall tree planet.
Big old trees. But I did want to include a jungle Star Wars. I could have made it harder, probably. What are the trees called on Kashyyyk?
Oh, man. I don't know. I read a whole book about
I don't
Wookiees.
know, Warshear trees.
Wow.
Warshear trees. Anywho, there you go. Amber, you won.
That was a great quiz. Thank
Yay. Segment 2. Top 5 jungles in pop culture.
you. Boom, boom, boom.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
I can go first.
Okay.
My number 5 top jungle in pop culture is 1997's George of the Jungle, starring Brendan Fraser.
Oh, Brendan Fraser. George of the Jungle. I don't know if I saw it.
You know what's weird is that 3 of my movies came from 1997.
Really?
That's a big jungle
big
year.
time for jungles.
So the premise of George of the Jungle, I saw it once. I don't remember every detail, but baby George was in a plane crash in the jungle. He's the only survivor. So he was raised by a pretty smart ape or gorilla. And then another lady, like a noble person, noblewoman, U.S. noblewoman, I don't know.
Okay.
George saves her. She's on safari and she almost dies, and George saves her. He's been living in the jungle his whole life, kind of as a wild man. And then he takes her back to the jungle to live with him, then learns about being a human, and then eventually she takes him back to the United States, and he's got to learn how to live in the real world. So they've got all those fun tropes of fish out of water kind of situation.
And Brandon can do that so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
Yep.
So this must have been before he went and did the whole Mummy franchise.
I think so, but I think it was after Encino Man when he was the caveman that was thawed in the block of ice, where he also had to adapt to the modern world.
Interesting.
Adapt. So,
That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah,
I wish I'd
it's funny.
seen that one. I want to watch that one.
Yeah, I think
Let's
maybe
add
it
to our
would be
queue.
worth rewatching.
We could put it on our Netflix queue.
Yeah.
And then when we send the previous DVD back, they'll send us that one.
I feel like another person wants George of the Jungle.
They don't do the DVDs anymore.
I think somebody said they do. You just have
did
to
they?
pay more.
Oh, you have to pay more.
Anyway, my number 5, George of the Jungle.
All right. Well, my number 5, Amber, is a little bit outside of the box, but I always think of this when I think of heavily wooded areas, which
Okay.
is what our running definition
Of course, yeah.
of jungles is. And so this is from a book. Actually,
Okay.
this is a literary,
Good.
and so I'm gonna read it to you.
Oh, good.
Just these 2 short paragraphs because I think it captures kind of the emotion. You try to tell me what book it is.
Oh, okay.
Okay. As Rand watched his side of the road, the feeling grew in him that he was being watched. For a while, he tried to shrug it off. Nothing moved or made a sound among the trees except the wind. But the feeling not only persisted, it grew stronger. The hairs on his arms stirred. His skin prickled as if itched on the inside. He shifted his bow irritably to rub at his arms and told himself to stop letting fancies take him. There was nothing in the woods on his side of the road, and Tam would have spoken if there had been anything on the other. He glanced over his shoulder and blinked. Not more than 20 spans back down the road, a cloaked figure on horseback followed them, horse and rider alike, black, dull, and ungleaming.
Oh, man.
You remember that book?
I do. Robert Jordan, Eye of the World.
It's so good. And then it continues on. It's this crazy monster guy called a Myrddraal or something like that. And he leads the Trolloc armies that are searching for the Dragon Reborn or something like that.
Yes.
And it's just, I remember reading, that's the first chapter of the book. And it continues on. And I just remember like my own like kind of hairs kind of standing up. It was
Yeah.
just this really well-written, creepy,
Yeah.
like... Oh, I just thought it was great. It kind of is reminiscent of. Do you remember whatever might have been the first Lord of the Rings movie when whatever those Black Knight things are that look exactly like
Nazgul,
the
yeah.
Nazgul, and the hobbits are hiding
right
the
underneath
root of
the
tree,
trees.
and he kind of
Yes.
comes over.
Oh
And that
my
was
gosh.
super creepy.
Yes.
This kind of had that same kind of feeling.
Yep, I agree.
But it was reading instead of
Probably
moving.
read that book at least twice, or certainly the first section more than once. And it's weird that I haven't seen it in a movie because I can just picture how I picture the farmstead, and aren't there sheep out there
Yes.
that meet a fateful end? And
Yes.
like I can just see it in my mind.
Yeah,
It
Robert
definitely
Jordan was great. And
paints the
those
picture.
are very, very long
Yeah.
books. I recently in the last couple years, I guess, have re-listened to the first 3 maybe on Audible as I'm driving up to school and back. And man, I love them. I'm gonna continue pressing on. There's like 8 or 9 super
was he
long
one
books.
that gets kind of bogged down in the story where all of a sudden you've got this huge book and it covers a day and a half?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the problem.
It's a great storyteller, but you just want more to be accomplished
just
by
do
the time
something.
you read all
Yeah,
those
come on,
pages.
Mr. Jordan, just finish. Let's go.
Yeah.
So that's my number 5, The Eye of the World.
Cool. My number 4, Jungle and Pop Culture, is from the movie Anaconda, also in 1997. This takes place along the Amazon River, but that's inside the Amazon jungle,
Yeah.
rainforest jungle. So the premise of that is there's a National Geographic film crew that's planning to float down the river and take pictures, or they're looking for a tribe. They're looking for a lost tribe or something. There's a guy just on the side of the river that they pick up. They think they're rescuing him, but it turns out he takes the whole crew hostage, and he's just like this crazy guy who is trying to catch a giant anaconda or hunt a giant anaconda. John Voight is him. So
Okay.
Jennifer Lopez is the main star.
Oh.
Ice Cube is on her team.
Ice Cube. That's right.
Eric Stoltz is on the team, which I don't know anything about him except for when you used to do that app where it would take a picture of your face and say, "You look like this celebrity." It said I looked like Eric Stoltz.
Nice.
It also has Owen Wilson.
Really?
Yeah. So I just
Wow.
remember it being very suspenseful, a lot of kind of murky water. What's in the water? You know a giant snake's coming at some point, but you don't know when. And then you don't want to get off the boat because that's dangerous. And it's just that kind of trapped sensation. But
Yeah.
I liked it.
Kind of like the Jaws of
Yes,
that era.
yes, absolutely.
I didn't
Good
realize
suspense
Owen
movie.
Wilson was in it.
I don't think it's a very big part.
I can picture Ice Cube.
Yes.
And but J-Lo, I don't remember. I'd love to watch that movie again.
Yeah.
I wonder if the snake holds up.
Oh, I wonder.
I don't. Yeah. Anyway, it'd be a good one.
Yep.
I bet
so-
that one plays on Spike TV all the time. That's what it seems
It does
like.
feel like that, doesn't it? So my number 4, Anaconda.
Amber, my number 4 comes from 1984.
Interesting.
It's starring Michael Douglas and
Oh.
Kathleen Turner.
Well, awesome. That's not my 1984 movie.
Also Danny DeVito.
Ooh, really?
Do you know which movie it is?
Is it Romancing the Stone?
It is Romancing the Stone.
I can't remember the plot of that.
There's this lady, and she is a novelist. The movie opens, and she's writing this romance novel, and it's this lady, and she meets this cowboy, and Kathleen, what's her name? Kathleen Turner plays Joan Wilder, and she's crying. She's like, it's so good. It's like her final book. But her sister. There's something like there's this treasure map, and then her sister gets kidnapped, and they're like, we'll trade you the map for your sister. So she has to go to like Colombia, and she gets all kind of turned around. That's where she ends up meeting Michael Douglas's character, Jack Colton.
Okay.
And so they're traveling through trying to save the sister and protect her from this bad police guy named like Zolo, and Danny DeVito's character that's trying to get the map so he can get this treasure. The next movie, it's called Romancing, or Jewel of the Nile. It was the sequel.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
And there's this great scene in Romancing the Stone where Kirk Douglas and Kathleen, I can't remember her name. Kathleen Turner. They're trying to get a car because they're trying to get out of the jungle, and they go to this like house, and this guy opens it up, and he's like, and they're like, hey, we need to buy or rent a car so we can get to a town. And he's like, what do you think this is, a pigsty? And he's like, no, it's very nice. And then the guy pulls a gun on him and says, you got to get out of here. And then they turn around, and all his goons are there, and they're about to get beat up. And he's like, all right, try to write us out of this problem, Joan Turner. Or yeah, is that what her name was? Oh, Joan Wilder. And then the guy is like, Joan Wilder? The Joan Wilder?
Oh my gosh.
And they read her novels, and he invited her in.
No
it was just
way.
so
Oh, that's
it's just
too
this
funny.
classic kind of mid-80s kind of trope, and it's just and it has all the jungly stuff. There's sliding down hills and muddy rivers and trying to get rid of animals, and it's just a great movie. And I remember watching it multiple times as a kid, even though it was a little bit kind of a romance, but it was also kind of a comedy action. And so as a young person, I liked the comedy and action, not so much the romance of it. So
I feel like I remember seeing the previews, like they kind of go down that muddy cliffside at one point. I think maybe that's even on the cover of the video. And then I remember my parents like renting it and watching it, but me not being allowed to because I was only 9 when it came out.
Yeah, there's some 1980s kind of saucy parts into it.
I'm not 100% sure I've ever seen it.
Oh, we should definitely watch it. It would be great. It'd be like a little date night.
Aww.
It'd be fun. So there's my number 4, Romancing the Stone.
Nice one. My number 3, also in 1984. What a great year for movies. 84 and 97 were apparently all the jungle movies he went.
Okay.
This was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So it feels like Romancing the Stone had to have been made an answer to the success of Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
There was something that
what do you
really
call that?
kicked off
Pulp.
that pulp action adventure.
Yeah.
We see a lot of those coming.
So I wonder, I don't have the month that this one came out, but hopefully they weren't in competition. Hopefully they were both able to be a great success.
I'm sure they were.
So The Temple of Doom is my favorite Indiana Jones movie. It has a lot of gross parts, but there's a lot of humor, I think, with the Kate Capshaw. I like it when they have to go through all those bugs in the tunnel and everything. But the jungle scene that made me pick it was there's the place where I don't know if their plane crashed. Somehow they got dropped off in the jungle and they got to make their way to a palace. And they stop. There's like a campfire, and they have an elephant, and the elephant's trunk keeps like brushing on her shoulder. And she's like, leave me alone, leave me alone. And then one time it's a giant snake, but she just thinks it's the elephant's trunk again. She's like, I told you to leave me alone. And she just flicks it away. And of course, Indy's terrified because he doesn't like snakes. So that I enjoy that trope of people who don't know what to do in a jungle,
well,
kind of freaking out.
Continues on. Indy and is that Short Round in that movie?
Yes.
And Short Round are playing cards.
Okay.
And the girl, her name
Oh,
is
she
Willie.
goes out in the jungle.
And so she's like hanging up her clothes, and all of a sudden she picks up a bat,
Yeah,
and then there's like
you're
all
right,
these
you're
animals.
right.
She's just
Oh my
running
gosh,
around
it's perfect.
screaming, and Indy's like, man, she is so loud. Like the main problem with her is she's loud, and they're just gambling, they're just playing poker, and she's just running around screaming.
I love it.
So good.
I love it. Oh man. So my number 4, and I looked up, was it actually a jungle? I think it is. It's a jungle in India.
Yeah, it's a jungle. It's for sure a jungle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So 1984, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. That was my number 3.
Number 3. Okay, well, my number 3 Actually, it's probably the one you just said, even though it's not on my list. That's a really very good movie. I should have put an Indiana Jones movie on here.
That's okay.
My number 3 is a movie I've not seen.
Okay.
Okay. And it's a movie, but I've practically seen it.
Okay.
I've seen it because I live in America.
Right.
All right, I've seen it. It's called Rambo: First Blood Part 2. It is the most popular.
Oh, that was in the quiz earlier.
It was in the
I
quiz
thought we already
earlier.
talked about it.
It was
yeah.
the most popular Rambo movie of the
Seriously?
entire series.
First Blood Part 2.
Yeah, it was the
What a ridiculous title.
It is, and he's this prisoner. Right? He's a
Okay.
prisoner because he must have gotten caught in First Blood, and he's a prisoner at this really horrible place, and the colonel comes up and is like, "You want a chance to get out of here?" And he's like, "Why me?" He's like, "We need you to go back to Nam and see if there's any POWs, and if you succeed, then there might be a presidential pardon.
Oh.
Do you want in?"
So he did something that our government didn't like.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah, our
no.
government did not like Rambo, but they end up double crossing him, and he,
no.
as we already learned, drops in a parachute, loses his guns, but he still has a very large knife and
yeah.
some very fancy bows and arrows.
Specialized arrows,
Yeah, and they do, and so I've seen so much of it.
Yeah.
He shoots these just arrows in gigantic, whole multiple buildings explode, right? But
They're
then
very specialized.
he ends up with a bazooka, and he's got the machine gun, and he finds these POWs, and it's just what I love about it is and I know I haven't seen it, but I'm gonna see it. That's my goal.
Okay.
Is this the raw I don't know the spikeness of this movie.
Okay.
Right? If any movie, like we just said, Anacondas probably plays on Spike. This one is like if Spike could get a hold of it, they would play it nonstop,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
Christmas Day would be that would be Die Hard, but like maybe Christmas Eve, they would just play this over and over again because it's just a man in the jungle with guns and knives taking out the Viet Cong, and it ends up that the Russians are partnering with him in training them, and it's just there's something about that trope that I'm just like, that's awesome. I love that.
I definitely think it's a guy thing.
I haven't seen it because I don't know, maybe my parents wouldn't let me see it. That doesn't seem likely. I don't know why I didn't see it in 85 or whatever.
It was probably rated R.
Because I was 10 years old. It's probably why I didn't see it. And then life just continues on, and I got into other stuff, and I didn't watch Rambo.
You can't see Part 3 if you never saw Part 1.
Exactly.
Blah, blah, blah.
And so I don't know what happened, but I really need to get out there and watch the
I wonder
whole.
if it holds up. There's a new one coming, right? So you got to get caught up.
I know. So I've seen the first one, and the first one is a whole different flavor. It's it's actually a better movie. It's this Vietnam vet comes home and is trying to deal with his emotions and the emotions of people in America as the Vietnam vets come back, and it's dramatic. And so that's kind of what I thought Rambo was, but it changed dramatically once you get to First Blood Part 2.
Interesting.
So that's my understanding anyway. So there you go. My number 3, a movie I've not seen, Rambo: First Blood Part 2.
Well, my number 2 favorite jungle movie, I've also not seen.
Oh, tricky.
No one has. It's Jungle Cruise coming out in 2020.
How is that your favorite movie? How is that number 2?
Because it just sounds so great. It's got
Okay.
Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt. Listen to this one-sentence synopsis.
Okay.
Based on Disneyland's theme park ride, where a small riverboat takes a group of travelers through a jungle filled with dangerous animals and reptiles, but with a supernatural element.
Oh, that does sound like you.
And Dwayne Johnson
Yeah.
and Emily Blunt, for goodness sakes.
Who's Emily Blunt?
She was just the most recent Mary Poppins, and she was in The Quiet Place. She's married to Jim
She
from
was
The
very
Office.
good in The Quiet Place. Yeah, I can't picture her, but I
Devil
remember.
Wears Prada. She's in a lot of things.
Okay, great. Well, yeah, I'm very excited about that too, but I didn't realize we could pick things that
I know. I
that
thought it
don't
would be kind of
exist.
funny.
You were correct. You were correct. So yeah, that's gonna be great. If you follow Dwayne on Instagram, you probably saw some Insta stories where he was doing some of the filming for that movie, some of the
did
green
not.
screen
I must
work and
not
stuff.
follow him.
So you gotta follow him. He's
guess
great.
so.
He's really trying to sell his vodka right now.
Oh, really?
And he just bought a water company. What was it?
Something
Evian
we've heard
or
of? Oh,
something.
really?
Yeah, something. what are those water bottles that are tall and skinny, and the cap is the same size as the water bottle, and it's kind of a gray cap?
Voss.
I think that was it,
Nice.
Amber. I
That's
think
a
he bought
fancy
Voss.
water.
He said he's always wanted to own a water company because he drinks 4 gallons a day, and he wants to make sure that the whole world has water.
Oh, he's such a great guy.
He's the greatest. And I would vote for him in a second if he ran for president. But then he'd stop making movies, and I don't know. It's a tough one. So,
Just for 4 years.
Just for 4 years.
Schwarzenegger got right back to
That's
it.
right. Good job. Amber, I love that. That's a great one.
Thanks. My number 2, Jungle Cruise, not out yet.
But it'll be the best.
Yep.
So these aren't movies. They're not all movies.
No, pop culture.
Okay, pop culture. So my number 2 jungle theme is The Lost World by Arthur Conan Doyle.
Oh.
So this is one of those classic books that I've read. I've not read a lot of classic books, but
That's who wrote Sherlock.
Yes.
Okay.
And this was published in 1912. All right. And it follows the expedition to this plateau in the Amazon basin or something. And the thing is, on this plateau, because it's so cut off from everything else, there's still dinosaurs.
Oh, cool.
And so this guy, the main character's name is Edward Malone, and he's trying to impress this woman. And at the beginning of the book, she says she wants a man that is capable of great deeds and actions. And so he finds this professor who's talking about going on this expedition, and he kind of cons his way into being on the expedition. And they do all the stuff. There's plants that try to kill him. There's bugs that try to kill him. There's pterodactyls that try to kill him. And it's all this big, fun adventure. And it's written so good. It's just a great pulp book. And so the Lost World by Arthur Conan Doyle. I haven't read it in probably 20 years.
So it felt like obviously somebody should have made that into a movie. So I just tried to look it up. Seems like there's a whole bunch of them, but nothing I've seen, like old ones mostly.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm sure they made it into a movie at some point. I mean, if it was 1912 and then they turned it into a movie in, the 30s or the 40s or something, it's just not been redone. And I don't know what Michael Crichton's The Lost World, like he did one called The Lost World, right?
Is it Jurassic Park, The Lost World? Michael Crichton wrote.
Yeah,
Jurassic
could be.
Park.
Yeah. But that had dinosaurs too, so.
Ooh, interesting. Oh, is The Lost World The Lost World?
Mm-hmm. So it's definitely, if you're like I've talked about Robinson Crusoe before. It's one of my favorite books. This is just another one of those books that you're kind of like, oh, it's so old, it's probably boring, but it's so good, and it's just greatness.
Wow. Well,
There
good.
you go. My number 2, The Lost World by
book.
Arthur Conan Doyle.
Well, now we're up to my number 1.
That's correct.
Jungle in pop culture is Jurassic Park Lost World
What?
in 1997. This is the second in the Jurassic.
How is the second one the
Park.
one that made your list?
Isn't it crazy? It's because of the jungle parts of it that I could
Okay.
remember. So there's a lot in that movie that's good, but I really don't like the little girl.
Is that the one
storyline?
where she's the gymnast?
Yes.
I like her. I like her stepdad too, whatever his name is.
Well, Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, everybody likes him. But yeah, this one, she stows along. He's got to go back. He, of course, never wants to go back to the dinosaur place.
He
This is Site B.
Mm-hmm.
So they were growing dinosaurs here and then moving them over to the park in the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, they had to shut everything down. Well, Site B, the dinosaurs just continued to grow without any kind of supervision. So they want to send him back there. He won't go, but then he finds out that his girlfriend, somebody that Julianne Moore, that he'd had some kind of connection with, was there, and they hadn't heard back from her. So they were worried about her, and of course that's enough to motivate him to go. So he goes, but then his daughter sneaks
in
along. I think it's just that she's so clueless about danger when it comes to dinosaurs.
She's just a little girl.
She burns something in the kitchen right away, and there's smoke coming up that alerts. And then that whole thing when they bring the baby T-Rex into their RV or something.
Yeah.
And it's just screaming for its mother. And of course the mother hears it. But that's one of the cool jungle scenes. You kind of look out and you see the trees rustling, the jungle. The T-Rex is coming. And I also like that So you've got your people who kind of know about dinosaurs, know what to watch out for. They're also nervous and scared in the jungle. But then you've got InGen is also there at the same time. InGen's there to capture dinosaurs to bring them back to a dinosaur park in San Diego, because what could go wrong? So they are more like, oh, we're hard hunters. We can do whatever. We are in no danger.
So good.
They are so in danger.
So yeah, and so in the baby T-Rex scene, the girl is up in the high hide, which I love. The high hide, and they're trying to fix the little dinosaur's leg, and they're trying to keep it quiet. But they're torn. Do we let this broken leg deal?
Yes,
they just care about the animals. Yeah, maybe. But then it sets up the coolest scene one of the coolest scenes in the whole movie, where the bifurcated trailer is hanging over the cliff, and for some reason it's a glass
it's like the windshield. It's the windshield, I think.
Is it the windshield? I thought it was the back of it.
Well, whatever. It's a glass window.
And it's cracking, and they have to say, it's
it
just
is very intense.
Yeah. I love that. And then that guy you're talking about, I also love him. He's the hunter. It's just that kind of trope. He's like, I'm just here because I've hunted the most dangerous game in the world. There's only one creature that I haven't, and so he gets to hunt the T-Rex. And that is also the one with the velociraptors.
Yeah.
They're very great.
They're very smart, but a gymnast.
And luckily that shack that they find has some uneven parallel bars, which really helps her defeat the velociraptors.
Yes, it does.
So, there you go.
Yeah, so that's my number one, Jurassic Park Lost World, Jungle.
That's a great one. My number one jungle in pop culture is 2005's King Kong, starring Jack Black.
So good.
This is the best rendition of King Kong that has ever been done. I know there's Skull Island. I know there's some new stuff. I know there's some older stuff. But the 2005 edition with Jack Black, it had everything I wanted. It had Jack Black. It had King Kong. It had, I think his name was like Adrian Brody something.
Totally.
And whatever. Naomi Watts played Ann Darrow.
Oh, man, that was good.
And there's dinosaurs in it, and King Kong fights it. I think he breaks the jaw of a T-Rex, and it was crazy. And it's a fun action movie, but it's not so heavy and scary, but it's just fun. It has that, to me, it feels kind of like Jumanji in that it's intense and there's a lot of action going on, but people are having, you're enjoying watching it. You're not just nervous or scared.
Yeah.
And then I just like King Kong. And bringing him back to New York is this sad thing, and he escapes, and it's just, he dies. It's very sad, but
definitely feels like the most pulp fiction kind of a thing.
Yes,
pulp genre.
Very pulpy, and I love Jack Black. He's constantly getting his camera out, and he's trying to catch this video because he's finally gonna make his big his big break, right? Because he owes all these people money, and he just escapes from them in New York, getting on the boat to get away. And I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I bought. That's one of the few movies I bought, and I buy most of the Star Wars movies and a smattering of other ones, but King Kong 2005 is one of them. I could watch that. I could go back and watch that right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's the best one.
It's the best darn one. So
it's a great jungle because there's mysterious stuff in it. It's not just
King Kong. There's dinosaurs and big bugs.
Some
some people get killed in a nasty way by some big bugs. It's pretty gross. And that's what you get for going to Skull Island.
That's what you get.
Dangerous place. There you go, Amber. Well, there's all of our top 5. We would love to know what you guys think of our top 5. Did you agree with them? Did you have some other ones that we certainly missed? Did you think it was ridiculous that Amber picked The Lost World over Jurassic Park 1? I did. Because there's certainly jungles in Jurassic Park 1, too.
Well, they're more like paddocks.
No. Do you remember when the guy from Seinfeld is trying to get away? Newman. He's trying to get away. He's super in the jungle.
Yeah.
And he gets attacked by the spitting thing.
You're right.
And then the kids are up in jungle trees, and they wake up, and all of a sudden there's some brachiosauruses there.
Yeah.
So anyway, there you go.
You're right about that.
I'm right again.
Yeah, so please let us know. You can comment on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can email us, segmentscast@gmail.com. You can find our episode page, segments.libsyn.com. So what you can do is we usually post about the show, reminding people that we have a new episode out, what's the topic. You can just comment on one of those posts and say, hey, you forgot about my favorite jungle movie, which was blah, blah, blah. Or I've watched George of the Jungle 753 times. And then we can include your comment next time in our feedback.
That's a really great idea.
That's how it works.
I love it. Thanks for that heads up, Amber. And you can also look us up and subscribe on your podcast player of choice. And I would love it if you shared the show with others. You have some friends that love jungles like crazy. Well, let's have them listen to this show, and they'll learn some stuff about jungles.
Yeah.
Some new stuff about jungles. And we would love that. And so you can always, as we said at the top of the show, contact us and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at SegmentsCast. Send us an email if you want to at segmentscast@gmail.com.
We want to thank our daughter, Emma, for our logo and graphics. If you'd like her to draw you something, she is taking commissions. You can contact her through our email, segmentscast@gmail.com.
And we also want to say thank you to EDM Samurai for the intro and outro music. You can find him on SoundCloud at EDM Samurai. Oh, Jungle Fever, that would have been a good one.
Those are more like paddocks.